Look, everybody, I think at this point in life, we can all agree that it is an objective reality that having money makes life easier, right? It allows you to do things that you want to do. But in this day and age where things are that expensive, it simply allows you to take care and not have to worry about bill increases and rises in costs of food. We are unfortunately in that sort of a situation in the world right now. Now, one of the things that we hear all the time is that women mainly and only care about money. Now, this is one of these things, guys. I've never really understood why people believe this. This is something that people do seem to believe, especially a lot of young men. And I think what they do, in my understanding, is they correlate the fact that they don't get much attention from females or don't have any quote-unquote dating options, and they conflate that, or correlate that, I should say, with their own, well, brokenness, right? There's no other way to say it, right? Now, I don't know, guys. This has never really been a thing that I've seen. I know that people think, some girls only care about money, and some girls, of course, only do care about money. But so do some guys. There's some people who just care about money. But in my life experience, this has never been a major influencing factor. And this is a great thing, in my personal opinion, that I've done. Because it's one thing, and it can make a difference, but it's one thing to get girls when you have money behind you because, well, you've got a certain mindset perhaps around yourself or a certain degree of a certain sense of self-achievement in your own head, right? But I've also done a lot of, well, getting girls, if you want, at times where I was very broke. Very broke, okay? So there is a spectrum of it, and money is not the direct and only attractor. It's not that. But where does this misconception come from, and why do so many guys seem to think this? Well, there's one thing that we need to understand, and this is very important. In a lot of instances, it's not necessarily the money that makes you attractive, it's the capabilities that come with it. Now, remember how I opened up this video? I spoke about how expensive everything is. I spoke about the realities of the world today. Now, just from a practical standpoint, a societal standpoint, and a sense of self-achievement, having money does not necessarily indicate to girls anything. It's the things that are bought with that money and the personality that comes with it. So if you have your own place, let's say, and you own or not even own, if you rent your own apartment or house, right? To a degree, that is going to be more attractive than just living at home. It presents more opportunities for romantic intimacy than if you lived with your parents, let's be honest. It presents a sense of self-pride. It shows somebody who, to a degree, has an element of ability to manage themselves, okay? You could say the same for a car, to some extent, right? It's a sign of someone who does something. You could say the same for a job. Now, this is where a lot of guys go wrong with this concept. The reason why money makes you attractive is not because you have money. Because I know lots of people who have money and they don't get any attention from girls, and that's just the truth. And I've said this in a video probably about a year ago now, and this I do still stand by. If you are not attractive, right? Whether you have a Lamborghini or a Lada, you may get some people, girls and men, right? Obviously for friendship reasons or romantic reasons or whatever, who are interested in you now. But oftentimes these are not going to be genuine connections. And if they are because of your self-doubt, you probably won't have much luck with them anyway. So what guys need to understand, and especially if you believe in this mindset, it's not that girls are attracted to money per se, at all. And it's not necessarily millions. It's that people are attracted to competency. Generally, right? Generally they are. And I think for most self-respecting guys, I know it's the case for me at least, you would have certain standards back, right? And I don't just mean beauty standards, that's one thing. But I mean life standards. Does she have a job? Does she have some savings? I'm not saying being rich, but does she have some ambition? So why would it be wrong for a girl to judge you in that way? It wouldn't be, because it's the same way that you'd probably judge her, right? And then you speak about what you want out of a relationship. Now this matters the most, as you may expect, in more long-term relationships, where you're looking for more of a long-term partner. So if that's your real ambition and that's what you're, of course, after, then it would make sense to audit somebody for their capabilities. And like I say, this is not about necessarily being a millionaire. It's about, is this person competent? Is this person driven? Is this person able to show that they have something about themselves, right? It's not necessarily, in my opinion, what people think. Now, as I say, will you get some girls who are interested just in money? Of course you will. Will you get some guys who are interested just in money? Of course you will. But this idea that all girls care about is money, guys, it's ruining your prospects. Now, this is one thing that I would recommend. If you're broke, right, and you think that's the thing from holding you back in getting girls, and that's a very broad term, right, depending on how you want to approach that one, but if you think that's the thing holding you back, then it's time to get girls broke. Because that not only is going to change your mindset on things, it's also a skill. Because like I say, a lot of people, especially a lot of young men, use arbitrary measures to determine their own social power in today's day and age. People will say, I have X amount of money and assume it makes them successful. Not necessarily. You can still come across as a loser and a nerd, right? Just like at me, for example. Look at this shirt and this t-shirt. You don't know necessarily that I make thousands of pounds a month online. Of course, to a degree, I am joking, but I think a bit of self-humour is not a bad thing. My point, guys, to be serious, though, is this. If you haven't had any experience with girls, if you don't have much experience with girls, if that's what you are looking for, then this lie about girls only like money, it is exactly that. It's a lie, right? It's not true. People in general like competent people, like people who are in charge of their own life. And you would probably expect the same out of your long-term partner if that is a female. You will meet people who are particularly attracted to money. Those people are obviously not the people for you. But this idea that money will get you girls is not the case at all. Once you learn how to do this broke, it becomes even easier when you've actually got money, because now you've got the confidence anyway, you've got the charisma anyway, and you've got the, to a degree, experience anyway. Because these are things that money can't buy. Now, as you begin to form that more serious relationship, you have the means to facilitate a nice life for you and her. But you also have the natural confidence, experience, and vibe that comes from somebody with confidence and experience, right? So yeah, I think this is a terrible thing holding people back, and I know it's something that people, especially these self-help people, like to perpetuate online. You know, girls only care about money. Of course, some do. Of course, a degree of financial capability is something that everybody sees as just a measure of some success anyway. But yeah, I think it's really something that's misunderstood, guys. So I'm going to really leave it there. Let me know your thoughts on this in the comments. Thank you for your time. Goodbye for now.